Good day. My topic is about gender discrimination. To be able to gather information, I conducted a short survey and interviewed a professor of social science from UPLB. I will be discussing the survey first, then the video of the interview will come afterwards. I decided to conduct a short survey to know from people themselves the possible factors or reasons behind gender preferences, to know the opinion of straight and LGBT community about each other's gender preferences, and to see whether they have discrimination towards each other's gender preference. I had 10 respondents. 6 among them are straight and 4 of them are members of the LGBT community. All of them are under 25 years old. 5 are students, 4 are working and 1 unemployed. As you would see, there are percentages that do not sum up to the total number of respondents because some questions allowed multiple answers. I had 2 sets of questions, Section A and Section B. The respondents are supposed to answer Section A if they are straight and Section B if they are a member of the LGBT community. There were 1 to 2 different questions in Sections A and B, but basically the questions were almost the same. I had 2 different sets of questions for the respondents based on their gender preference, not to discriminate them or set them apart from each other in a negative way, but to know deeper where they are coming from. I want to know what they think about the people with a different preference and if they are aware of the factors or reasons behind their own preference. Here is the comparison of the results. 50% of straight people think that the preference of the members of the LGBT community was influenced by their peers, when only 20% of the members of the LGBT think the same way. 30% of them think that there are other influences that affected their preference aside from poor relationship with their parents and believing that they were born that way. I know a few people who are not comfortable around the members of the LGBT, so I was curious whether both sides are willing to be friends with one another. I am glad to know that all of the respondents were willing to be friends with someone regardless of his or her preference. I asked the respondents if they have experienced discrimination based on their gender preference. 30% of the Section A respondents said that they were discriminated at school. 10% said that it happened at work, while the rest of the percentage said that they did not experience any discrimination. 10% of the Section B respondents, on the other hand, said that they were discriminated at school, while 20% said that they were discriminated in some other way. I was also curious if the respondents were open to the possibility that they would change their preference in the future. Section B respondents were more open to this possibility, while 50% of the Section A respondents wanted to stick to what their preference is. I asked the respondents if they think that the members of the LGBT are accepted in their community. Unfortunately, there is a high percentage from both sections which said that the members of the LGBT are still not fully accepted, while a small percentage said that they are. These are the same questions that I asked to the respondents. Now, for Section A, the different question was about the common view that men are superior to women. I provided some possible answers for them, and just as I was expecting, 40% of the Section A respondents believe that men are superior to women because they grew up in a society where patriarchy is normal. 30% said that men and women are equal. For Section B, the different questions were about the signs that the members of the LGBT felt that determined their gender preference, and if it was hard for them to come out. 20% said that they felt that they have a different preference when they were between 10 to 19 years old. One of them refused to answer whether it was hard or not for him or her to come out, but two of them said that it was not hard because their family loved them and their peer group were accommodating. Seeing these results, I can say that discrimination is not exclusive for the members of the LGBT but also to those who prefer to stick to being male and female. So, the members of the LGBT community experience discrimination more than the straight people do. To be able to understand more about gender discrimination and its factors, here is my interview with Professor Rafael Zaldi Villaseñor of the Department of Social Sciences in UP Los Baños.
Is these are yung sa gender defined sa sociology, maaaring tingnan siya bilang institutionalized notions ng pagiging babae at lalaki. So, kung gano'n ang definition, therefore, it entails roles and statuses. So, basically, ang pag-status ka, may naka-akibat yun na roles, no? At yung mga roles na yun, tinitingnan kung alin yung mas mahalaga at hindi masyadong mahalaga based on the status. Sa konteksto natin, kadalasan naman mas mataas ang status ng lalaki kaysa babae at mas mababa pa dun yung LGBTQ. At yung mga roles na ginagawa nila ay apektado ang pagtingin sa kanila kung mahalaga ba ito o hindi base sa status ng gumagawa sa kanila. So, kung ang status ng isang tao based on his or her gender ay titingnan mo, then hindi mo maiiwasan na pumasok ang mga tao sa discrimination. Discrimination is basically a negative action towards a social group, a certain social group. So, behavioral ito. So, di-discredit mo ang isang social group dahil sa status na meron sila. Na nilalagyan mo siya ng inferior, pwede rin naman superior na posisyon sa lipunan based on their social group. At marami itong consequences. So sa discrimination, pwedeng siya ay mangyari sa malawakan at sa pangmaliitang level. So, kung gender discrimination ito, basically, you perform action or behaviors that are based on the perceived negative status ng isang social group. So, kadalasan sa gender discrimination, mas lugi ang kababaihan at lalo mas lugi yung LGBTQ community. Kadalasan yung nangyayari naman ang discrimination, kahit ano naman discrimination, is because of illusory correlation. Ang illusory correlation, basically what the term suggests, people would assume that there is a correlation between a social group and a certain negative attribute or quality. Na kahit hindi proved ito na wala, na hindi ito proved na nag-exist. Pero nonetheless, sinusunod dito ng maraming tao dahil institutionalized siya. Ibig sabihin, pag institutionalize siya, sa lahat, across all social instances, ganun nangyayari. So, ang example ng illusory correlation, babae at pagiging babae at pagiging mahina. Hindi siya causation, di ba? Hindi dahilan, ang pagiging mahina ay hindi dahilan. Hindi yung pagiging babae ang dahilan nun. Kundi, kadalasan na nangyayari, yung mga babae, still yung mahina. Totoo ba o hindi? Sa discrimination, kadalasan, hindi ito totoo. Or may kaunting katotohanan naman, pero ina-exaggerate ng mga tao. So, kadalasan gano'n, may illusory correlation. At kapag gano'n na nangyayari, ang consequences nito sa ating pakikisalamuha sa mga taong di-discriminate natin, pangit siya. Kasi binibigyan mo siya inilalagay mo siya sa isang kategorya na sa palagay mo ay mababa or sa palagay ng lipunan ay mas mababa kaysa sa kategorya mo. At in so doing, yung pakikitungo mo sa kanila ay apektado dito. Kasi tingin mo nga sa kanila bababa, ituturing mo sila na mas baba. Sa pamayanan, bakit ito nagpa-persist? Kasi kailangan ng society ng status. Para mag-function ang society, kailangan daw ng iba't ibang posisyon sa lipunan, at yung posisyon na yan, kailangan may mataas na mababa. So, basically, a society cannot function without superior and inferior statuses. I-apply mo sa gender, ganun yun. Gender discrimination. Kasi may kanya-kanya. Although yung status na ito ay ang pagtingin ay vertical. Bihira lang yung tumitingin ng horizontal. Horizontal status. Dito sa Los Baños, evident pa rin talaga ang gender discrimination. Kahit pa sabihin mong UP ito, isa sa mga premyadong pamantasan sa bansa, very rampant pa rin ng discrimination. Although may nakikita na tayong awareness. Pero ang awareness na ito ay hindi sapat kasi maaaring nasa cognitive level pa lang siya, at baka nga maaaring wala pa sa cognitive level. Ni-recognize lang, in-acknowledge, pero wala pa talagang acceptance. At the most, ang nakikita ko ngayon ay tolerance lang sa pag-exist ng mga, halimbawa ng LGBTQ community, no? Andyan sila, may mga tumatanggap sa kanila, pero nagsasabi tumatanggap, pero marami pa rin ang tumitingin sa kanila bilang parang isang anomalya on the order of the nature of things. So, anomaly sila. Marami pa rin, for example, sa tingnan natin ang pagkaka-assign ng mga estudyante sa kurso. Kadalasan, may mga kurso na tinitingnan na pambabae o panlalaki. Kadalasan ang mga lalaki sa pamantasan na ito ay napupunta sa mga kurso gaya ng mga engineering courses, mga MST. Basically, ang mga lalaki ay napupunta sa math, science, and technology courses. Bakit ito nangyayari? Kasi sinosocialize sila, pinapalaki sila ng mga magulang, at umaambag doon sa pagpapalaki ng yung mga guro nila noong elementary at sekundarya, na sila ay magaling o in-encourage sila na magpakagaling sa maganoong asignatura dahil yun ang domain daw ng mga kalalakihan. Pero studies show na wala naman talagang difference. Nagkakaroon lang ng mas iniengganyo lang talaga yung mga kalalakihan doon. So based on that pala, may prejudice na and then may discrimination na kadalasan yung mga lalaki nandun. Kaya may mga instances na yung mga conventional domain. Bakit ka mag-engineering babae ka? O lalaki ka, dapat magaling ka sa math, magaling ka sa calculus, sa trigonometry, yung mga ganun. So they discriminate. Sa mga lalaki, nadi-discriminate yung minention ko, nadi-discriminate yung mga babae bilang hindi magagaling sa mga ganoong asignatura. At yung mga lalaki naman, nadi-discriminate din sila kasi kahit hindi nila sinasadya, automatic na ilalagay sila sa pedestal, kumbaga. Pedestal na kung saan dapat magaling ka dyan. So added burden yun. So, yun yung sa mga estudyante din at karaniwang mga tao dito sa UPLB. Pagdating naman sa mga administrador at guro dito sa pamantasan, kadalasan din may tinatawag kami sa sociology na glass ceiling at saka invisible ceiling at saka invisible escalator, kumbaga. Pag lalaki ka, nasa invisible escalator ka. Kahit ayaw mong tumaas, dahil lalaki ka, kadalasan itataas ka. Kung tininan mo, yung mga professor dito na lalaki, kadalasan sila ang mas nagiging pinakamataas na administrator. Ilan pa lang sa buong UP system, hindi lang sa UP Los Baños, ilan pa lang ang nagiging chancellor na babae. Wala pa akong narinig. Pero sa pareho, meron na, pero palagi ko ilan pa rin lang. So may invisible escalator. Tapos sa mga babae naman, nakakaranas sila ng invisible ceiling. Ang gusto nilang tumaas sa career nila. Pero base sa androcentric na pagtingin ng mga tao sa mga iba't ibang institusyon kasama na akademya,
May isang level lang silang hanggang dun lang. At napakahirap ng umangat doon sa level na yun. So, gusto mong tumaas tapos may invisible ceiling. Hanggang dito lang. Kahit hindi mo nakikita. Merong hindi nakikita ang pwersa na nagpapako doon sa mga kabaihan, sa mga ganitong trabaho lang. Kaya pansinin mo, maski sa mga profesyon tulad ng guidance and counseling, mga administrative staff, kadalasan ito ay mga babae. At yung mga pinakasikat na profesor, doktor, at administrador dito sa pamantasan ay kadalasan mga lalaki. So, na-segregate, na-divide, at na-specify yung division of labor base sa gender. Kasi may mga stereotypical na pagtingin sa mga babae at lalaki kung saan sila babagay na mga posisyon sa kanilang mga karera at kung ano ang dapat nilang gawin bilang babae o lalaki sa kanilang trabaho.